Welcome, Black Hollywood Live fans. On tonight's Queen Sugar Aftershow, we talk episode 9, Next to Nothing, with Bianca Lawson. Stay tuned for more. Welcome, Queen Sugar fans. Wow, we have quite the episode for you tonight. My name is Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong.
Hey guys, it's your host Stacy. You guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace.
Hey, it's Anjy. Skates. You can find me on Twitter at Anjy_Skates and on the gram at Big_Anj.
Hey everybody, it's Kelli Scates, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Urban Gypsy LA. And today, you guys, we have a special guest, Miss Bianca Lawson.
Hey, where can they find you?
They can find me at Bianca Lawson.
Everywhere.
And Instagram is
Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What a great, another great episode. You know, they never disappoint.
Episode.
They never disappoint.
Oh my God.
I wanted to take this episode a little bit differently. I wanted to talk about, I thought there was an overwhelming theme of love, I thought, with the different couples. And obviously with Darla and Ralph Angel. So let's begin there. I find them so compelling as a couple, even though I don't necessarily like where things are going. What did you guys think about, I guess, seeing them have these moments of real kind of relaxation, kind of coupleness?
I think that when you create a child together, it solidifies a bond that no matter what, it'll always be there. And you kind of just see Ralph Angel light up when him and Darla interact sometimes. I think it's cute. I think everybody deserves a second chance, and I kind of like seeing them have screen time together.
Yeah. I'm nervous for Ralph Angel.
Right, I'm like,
I'm like
so nice
nervous
to
for
see.
their hearts. Like, oh my gosh, I hope it's gonna work out. Like, if they're gonna go there, but I am happy because I think about Blue. So I'm like, okay, if it does work, that would be amazing for Blue's little beautiful self. But what if it doesn't?
I think this is one of the first episodes that they took ownership of their relationship by themselves, because most times I'm like, oh, what does Auntie Bi think, or what does Hollywood think? But now it was just them being themselves, and we've already seen that they have this like non-verbal sexy thing going on, so then they had this verbal thing going on. I'm like, and they can have conversation. Like, it was just really, and I root for them. There was a couple episodes ago I did not, but I'm on their side now.
What do you think about this evolution?
Of Ralph Angel and Darla.
Yeah.
I love it because I feel like, and you saw it with the story to Blue, Oscar and Olivia, they have so much history. And Darla has no family, and her whole family is Ralph Angel and Blue. And they've both gone through so much individually. And they're both trying to evolve and change and start their lives again. So I personally love that they seem to be coming back together.
And we had a moment where you were again thanking Ralph Angel, so that made me think about that ridiculously epic scene last episode where you kind of just you kind of blew everyone's minds, which was amazing.
You lit that place on. That kitchen was on fire when you were done. I was like, what?
What was that process for you, preparing for that kind of scene?
Well, the thing is, when you have like a scene, the dialogue, I mean, it was so gorgeous, and I wanted to do justice to it. So that makes you nervous. Because then you feel like, oh my God, I've been given these beautiful, beautiful words. Like, I don't want to just like, I want to give it my everything.
Right.
I want to really respect it. But then that makes you like overwhelmed. Like, you got to do this amazing job. So I just let it go. I was like, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'd been living with Darla. But I want to say something about the actors, because Tina, Kofi, and Omar, they were so, I mean, they're always, but like that day especially, they were so present for me in the scene. It's like, I really felt like once I entered the room, it was like I didn't have to, okay, I gotta like muster something up. They like really held the space and the crew. And I mean, it's like, this set is a dream. It's a dream.
We feel it, 'cause it translates.
I'm thinking, like, when you walked in that room, girl, like, it was that silent, overcome, like, it was that weird, overwhelming, like,
with the lighting and everything.
It was like, sexy is the wrong word, but I said last week, it was so sensual and sexy, everything that was shot. And so you come in and it's this moment of like, I have to apologize, which I don't think we expected for you to do that. So we're thinking a fight's about to break out in terms of Auntie saying like, why is she here? And you calm the room. girl, all of our scripts are like, oh my God. But now that you're here telling us, I'm like, that just gave me a whole moment. Like, wow.
So when I read the script for the first time, I was telling Tina, the writer of the episode, I was like, I read the script and I was like crying, and I was like, I don't have to email you and be like, oh my God, thank you for this, like, I'm just like reading it, like not as like for myself, just like reading it is like, and at first I was like really excited, and then I was scared. I was like, I actually have to like act this and like really give it the fullness that the gift they gave me with that material, because you don't get material like that.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah, that was absolutely
you would
brilliant.
though. I feel like you're always like, I've seen you in so many different versions of, you know, this is a little bit more somber or whatever, but I've seen you like do it.
But that was such a meaty scene, though.
It was.
And it's dealing with such issues that you just typically don't get to tackle, I guess.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Plus, we've said it before that I think having the female be the outcast of the family in a sense, and like not, you know, the typical single dad story, or I'm sorry, the single mom story versus like the single dad story. For you to be the person that is playing that and really owning the fact that you made your mistakes, like it's just refreshing is the right word. It's refreshing.
Ava and I were talking a little bit about Darla's backstory, because when I first, before I even started the job, and Ava and I Skyped and we talked about the character, and she was saying that she really, because Darla's not in the book, and so she just really wanted to tell this story of a young black woman that's in recovery and how lonely that is. And usually in like movies and shows, there's like some savior person that comes in and helps them. But really in real life, you're alone most of the time, and you're doing that by yourself. And so she really wanted to show the real loneliness of that, and then how you can sort of like, how people pull themselves up, but kind of by themselves. And I was like, oh my God.
Girl.
Yes, I want to do this.
I'm like, when do I sign up? Like, what?
So when, so in terms of what you were saying about not seeing it, so we talked about how, well, maybe she isn't from there, but she was going to school there, and she meets Ralph Angel, and they fall in love, and then he gets in trouble, and he goes away, and then she's all by herself with this child. She's young, she has no family, she doesn't know what she's doing, and she started doing some drugs, and, you know, one thing led to another, and she spiraled out, and I personally just feel like it's horrible it happened, but it's like, for me, I just felt like, well, maybe she was like deeply depressed, you know, and she was like all alone and overwhelmed, and things get out of hand, and life takes a turn that you don't intend for it to, but then how do you sort of show up for these people that like hate you and don't trust you, and have that image of like how they found Blue, and so to go into that house and look at these people and know what they think about you, what they're feeling about you, and having that shame about it, but still showing up and saying like, I'm gonna be a mother, and I've changed, and I'm gonna make this right. Like,
she's changing my mind about Dawn. You're changing my mind.
It's crazy that you just said that, because even last week, like, of course I was here, we were here for the scene, you know, you're asking for forgiveness, but there was something you said last week about like, you know, I've changed, and you know, give me a second chance or whatever. And I remember, I like that you said, because we were both looking like, should we give her a second chance? You know, kind of being petty, not on purpose, but just because everyone says that. Everyone always says they've changed.
Especially with drug addiction,
Everyone says that. So that narrative is so real, for one, and something you have to make a decision as the person that's getting the apology. Are you going to trust their apology, or are you going to say, everyone says that as well? Because that's my first thought when you started apologizing before you started breaking me down, was they always say that.
I still didn't trust you.
Especially in the early episodes where like Blue's like asking about her, and she doesn't like show up, but they don't know why. Like, so it just seems like, oh, we still can't trust her. She hasn't changed.
But it made me sad. They really should have gave you a second chance. I was kind of mad when they did that, because I mean, your boss was not feeling the vision. Like, I don't know.
It's hard. I mean, I think life does that. It's like you start moving a little bit, and then you get tripped, and you start moving, and you got to keep getting up and moving forward. But
sometimes I feel like I'm seeing things on the characters' faces that might be telling. How much advanced, like when you get your script for the episode, how many episodes do you get? Do you know what's going to happen in the next episode? Like, how much of the character do you know about their future?
Well, okay, I mean, I'm not going to say what it was, but originally there was a different story for Darla. And so I was like, okay. But then I think something happens. Like, when you arrive on the set and you get with the other actors and you guys start experimenting and playing, and then you see the chemistry and the things that maybe weren't on the page, but just the nature of all these different energies coming together, and and then they're like, well, that's kind of interesting, and that's kind of interesting, and let's kind of see, you know. So there's always kind of like a general idea, but you never really know. You never really know. Things could change. We shoot 2 episodes at a time. How early did I get the scripts? I mean, I because I wasn't in every single episode, I had a little bit of time, which was so nice. But I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like waiting for the script, like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do they get back together? Do they not? What happens?
I just see so much in their faces. I'm like, it feels so deep. I'm like, what's telling for the future?
What are they do? Exactly. Do you realize?
What are
that
their
was such a
motivations?
good point. Do you? I guess you kind of answered it, but saying like, if they say, play this type of expression, or do you ever get this, play this type of expression? Because like I said, that non-verbal scene episode, was that 2 or 3?
3.
Yeah,
Girl,
3.
that non-verbal, that was too
We got
much.
some tonight. We got a little bit of that tonight.
We
You
did.
went going to the farm and you just
I
like,
was into it.
I wasn't expecting that scene when I got the script. I was like reading it, and I'm like, oh.
How was that
is it
written?
working with
Yeah,
Kelli?
so much chemistry there.
The scene was actually written differently. And Nima, our director, it was like me, Nima, Kofi, Jason, who wrote this episode. We all just got together, and like she was like, let's just talk about the scene. Like, what are things happening? Like, we had a conversation like without the words. And so it was like, how do we create this conversation without any words? I mean, that's just what kind of set it is. It's so, you feel like real artists, because you're like,
Nice.
I love that.
That's the sense that we get. It's amazing that that's exactly what you guys are doing. Yeah.
And everybody has said that. It's beautiful.
Paul Garns. One of the things that was all about starts working it out.
I love it.
Oh, we'll talk about Mike and Kiki and Remy and Charlie later. I want to get back to the meat of the. I do love Kiki.
I have to tweet on her. Like, girl.
But the meat of this episode was another emotional scene. We all kind of talked about the conversation about this whole guest worker idea and migrant workers. You know, Ava does this beautifully, where she's always giving us these very real meaty issues to dive into. What was your sense of that whole that storyline?
She made it real for me. Like, even me as someone who I consider myself to be very aware and conscious of things like that, she made me realize I'm not as conscious, and that I just kind of group them all together. So this made me realize, like, sheesh, these are real people.
Yeah, I think for me, what she did was highlight the similarities that we all have as people of color and our struggles in this country. And she humanized them in a way that we don't really get to see in real life or on screen like this. And I really appreciated that. There was so much compassion for them. They're humans.
Right.
Like, I think we tend to forget that.
Migrant worker.
We get wrapped up in our own day-to-day lives and the operations of running the farm like the family does, and they didn't even know the names of the people working for them. So it just kind of gave them a really human face. And you can't once you have this awareness, you can't go back. You know.
Yeah, even the line when she compared it to slavery.
Yeah, she said replacing the black for the brown. I was just like,
that was
deep.
It was so. I don't know. I want to say the scene was unfair in terms of, not for us, but it was just unfair the way that it unraveled, as like watching it, as an audience member and seeing the character. Because I also started like, oh my God, somebody died. Like, okay, I'm texting, I'm looking, they're crying. It's like the unraveling was just
was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was.
Because I can watch it and do what we have to do while we're take notes or whatever, but literally they start going into it and the emotion, and then Dawn's face, and you're seeing these people react as we're reacting.
Yeah, they're feeling it as we're feeling it,
and
too.
we're like, oh my God, like, are you not seeing what's happening? And it's so sad that we've had to say it so many times. They're human, because how is that not something we already know? I'm not saying we don't necessarily know, but I think people have this idea of, you're just this.
Yeah.
And that just
I think we get very like caught up in our lives and our drama and our stuff, and you don't stop to think like, oh, this person just had a child, and they're a new husband, and you know what I mean? We don't know anything. We're just going about our lives. It's like so narcissistic, so self-involved.
Yeah, we forget that guest workers are people, and as I mentioned, you know, a long time ago, George W. Bush had created a path to citizenship for guest workers that didn't pass, and so I think that's something that she highlighted here.
And she reminded us about, because I feel like we, you know, this is a voting season. This is a time to really be paying attention, and for her to say, like, by the way, these are the little things y'all don't know, or the little nuggets you might not be paying attention to.
And the artistry behind it, because you just felt it, and then you're like, wait a minute, these are some real issues. How is that for you on set? On set, tackling, you know, whether it's the prison industrial complex and Ralph Angel being afraid to go even talk to the police because of, you know, that feeling. How do you guys tackle that in your downtime?
Well, I can't speak for any of the other actors. I mean, I personally, just with like Darla, that's who I just sort of like, I have my thoughts about who she is in her life, but I don't go into thinking like, you kind of already know these are like major issues, and we're getting to kind of highlight these things that I think a lot of television shows don't highlight. But I think I personally don't like think of it that way. I'm just like playing the character, and I'm just in the scene, but grateful sort of over here in the back of my mind that this has like a double meaning. You know, it's like beyond just like entertaining people, making them feel, but like this is really going on right now.
Do you guys ever have dialogue though about the different topics off the screen?
Oh, I mean, maybe they do. but you know what's going on.
Right.
You know, you kind of talk about news and stuff, but
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an intense backdrop for
It
the
was
show.
sad because I was a little like, I kind of yelled at Dawn a couple times.
She did.
And I don't know why. I don't know why I yell at her so much. She also got my sympathy back when she also realized where her head was at, and when she was talking to Nova and saying like, I didn't even know this and blah blah, and she was like, oh yeah, she worked for us. No, she worked for me. Like, or they worked for me. I mean, I was the one here. So, you know,
they're so good at playing her as that privileged but character that
but still
wants
we need
to be connected and meaningful. So she notices her ways just like way too long.
I really love
and
the
you're like, I'm still mad at you.
The fullness that we get to see, not just.
And these people aren't perfect.
They're
messy.
Like
there's light and dark.
I don't know why I want Dawn to be perfect, and it's not that I actually want her to, but it's like you want one of the characters, because I'm already decided Nova's the one that's gonna be messy, and I'm like, wait, they're all gonna be messy, like real life? Oh, okay.
Complicated.
That's what life is, though. So it's epic.
Well, speaking of Dawn, we got to talk a little bit about the Remy Charley thing. We'll get back to the love. This is I need to know who's writing some of these lines. There was some good lines. From Remy, from Kiki, from everybody.
I picked up game this week. Listen, if I send the right text this week, you know how I got it.
I took notes. What do you guys think about that evolution of Remy and Charley?
You guys already know how I feel about Remy and Charley, and I just love the fact that he basically said he's willing to be patient and move on her time, and I just think that's beautiful, because that doesn't happen all the time.
Timing is everything, and the fact, like, it's so gentle and it's patient, and I love it. I think it's what she needs in her character, and I think they're good for each other. And I hope she never goes back to Davis.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know why you're so convinced.
Why you still feel that way?
Let him go.
Like, even after that, you still do?
Yeah, I do.
Really? If you're right, I'm gonna be super sad. Like, because sometimes
he's wrong.
Okay, let's make that clear.
Yeah, I want to ask you, but I don't know if you already know, so you can't say anything about it. But I guess as a viewer up until this point, what are your thoughts about Remy and Charley as a couple?
Oh wow! I mean, they're adorable.
Yeah, it's hard not to say.
And I love Dondre. I've known Dondre since I was 12.
Really?
He's the godfather of my younger brother.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh,
that's amazing that you guys are working together. So awesome. I love that.
He's totally the Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so rooting for him.
And I think even the way he approached it, you know, because as soon as he said you don't have to say anything, I was like, I wasn't sure what was happening after that. And then, you know, the gentle touch, and it wasn't even, we don't even need a kiss.
It's like,
and it's like, they can see. And then he said, everybody grown. I said, we are grown.
I was just like, what if somebody sees them? We're all like, who?
Besides as your kid, we have no one to explain this to.
Right.
I mean, Auntie Vi could get mad. You know, she got something to say.
Charley's also going through a lot.
She is.
She has a lot.
We should talk about her.
A lot going
But
on.
we gotta talk about Kiki too, and then we're gonna Auntie Vi. Because Kiki was a little bit of a spitfire herself.
Kiki was.
Did you say I thought you were taller on Instagram?
Yeah. She said, my friends are following. Not me. My friends are following you.
She said, "Let me tell you how modern this show is. Follow me on IG."
I love that
I
they can
looked at
move
her.
to
I said, "Let me get her IG." Like, that was amazing. That was amazing.
What do you guys think of Kiki? I like her as a new character for Micah, though.
For
I
sure.
love it. The young
She's
romance.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
She's feisty.
Yeah, and she's a lot
Aggressive.
different than his Malibu girlfriend.
Yes,
If anything
like
to
the polar
say,
opposite.
sadly.
Yeah.
That's. Hopefully her mom is different too. But y'all
But
know.
I just like seeing something happy for Micah, kind of a breath of fresh air, something different.
But do you think she's a troublemaker at all?
Remains to be seen. Remains to be
She
seen.
has troublemaker tendencies.
I think at
Yeah.
that age, I mean, like, what teenager isn't?
Isn't causing a little trouble.
True.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna be good for each other.
Good.
I think it's like I think she just has a little bit of an attitude, but I kind of like that because I feel like normally when you describe a black girl with an attitude, it's like a negative thing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how her character will
So far, it's been a
evolve.
positive portrayal.
Yeah.
Oh
It's like-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she's
she's like
young.
feisty and cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her.
I like
So
I like
it.
Kiki, the new blood. I
Me
like
too.
it.
Young
So,
blood.
follow me on TV tomorrow. That was
But
too much.
yeah, we got onto
Wow.
Vi is really going through it. It kind of caught me by surprise because she seems to always be the matriarch and has it together. What do you guys think about sort of
I
her
love that
crisis?
scene with her and Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
That
amazing.
was beautiful on the steps.
Yeah, it was finally Nova getting back to Nova because Nova's been a mess for a minute. Yeah, she has been.
What's
she was
going
finally,
on for these people?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Nova's still a mess. She just had a moment of clarity.
like
I would
she was
say.
back to the Nova we thought she was in that first episode.
Yeah.
She even told Micah, like, well, that's up to your mama. I'm like, finally,
Yeah,
you know what's
realize
going on.
that it's not your decision.
Yeah, but I love that you said that we got to see her a little troubled because we are expecting her to always have it together, because that also goes to what you've been saying and what we've all finally agreed on, that these people are really messy. And I think for me, it took me a longer time to see it. I'm like, no, these people are perfect, and Hollywood and her are never going to break up. And then something always, every couple, I'm like, no, oh yeah, oh no. You know, so to see that Auntie Vi has her own thing and for Nova to give her that advice.
And Hollywood
it's
did
all
too.
about-
Also,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
episode,
He said, I'm going to tell you one more time.
One more
And even in that
Hollywood.
scene, like, she kept repeating herself, almost like she didn't even believe what she was saying.
Right.
So
She was
it
just looking
like
for some kind
somebody
of
to validate
affirmation.
it. Yeah. So
But think
Hollywood
of how
tell her
many
the
people
truth.
go through that. Like how many women, especially, but not just women, but in this situation, for her to be the caregiver and the one that I'm only satisfied when everybody else is satisfied.
And
And I
that's the
think
typical
it was-
relationship.
But it also then, if like you're solving everyone else's problems, you don't have to
Yours
really
fall
look
by
at
a wayside.
yourself.
Exactly.
And I think that was a little bit of like a generational thing. I think our parents were more of that way, where they found their
sure.
purpose in caring for others.
Absolutely.
So that's why you were looking for the grandkids and want to make sure you were constantly just carrying it, outpouring that love.
I think we also have like the stereotype of the super strong black woman that never ever has a weak moment, or you know, like she always has to put on this face. And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
And I think that everybody around her is giving her permission to do that and say, take care of yourself,
And we'll help
and
you.
we'll hold you down.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
You better hold us down, girl. You better hold us down.
Yeah, it was the first time we've really seen that. And I just love these, at least these past 2 episodes, because everyone feels like they're all together in the same house. And, you know. We had some more stuff with Darla and Ralph Angel.
And we're back.
Back to Darla.
Of course, back to Darla.
I love her reaction. She was like, yeah, we did.
Well, already for me, I'm just concerned. Already the car seat issue. That
Yeah, she was
She's
like,
not
what's
ready.
Yeah.
She's not
She
ready.
hadn't really been a mother.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't know, this is like her first time kind of like being a mother.
Are you as nervous for Darla as we are?
Okay, I don't think this is giving anything away.
Yeah.
But there is a scene in a future episode where I had to put like a sweatshirt on Ethan, who is just delicious.
Amazing.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And the way I was doing it was so awkward. And the director's like, I was gonna stop it because it was a little like, how do you? But then she's like, no, Darla wouldn't really know because she got the child taken away pretty young. But am I nervous for Darla? I'm biased. I love Darla. But No, I think Darla, to go from where she was to where she is now, there's a strength there. Just like we were talking about how Violet, there's that like vulnerability, that sensitivity, that flip of it underneath. And like Darla's so seemingly sort of vulnerable and fragile, and she is, but she's showing up. You know, she's showing up. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know, that made me nervous. Well, I guess let's go into predictions.
Well, just with everything that you just told us about Darla's character and then what we said about Auntie Vi, I don't think it necessarily in the next episode, but now you kind of make me want Auntie Vi to be there for Darla and kind of show her the way in being a mother. So that...
Why
that
didn't see
come
that
up for me.
coming.
I can't see that
I
at
didn't
all.
see it until this conversation.
That's good.
So I hope it happens. I don't know when or if, but I think
That's
that would
so
be good because
good.
you just made me realize like she just needs help and she needs family. Everybody needs family. Nobody could do it on their own. So I now have a soft spot for her.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, but I also want to see Auntie Vi take some time for herself.
There's
and I think
True.
that Ralph Angel is actually going to step in and show Darla a lot of the ropes of parenting, and that's something that we don't always see is the man saying, hey, this is how you parent our children.
I like that.
So I'm looking forward to that, I think.
I definitely want to second that. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want. That's what I want. Like, that's what yes, because that scene, you know, with you guys was so beautiful. I'll take care of it, blah, blah. That was awesome.
I'm a romantic, so I was watching
Yeah. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna say I'm on this Remy and Charlie train right now. I know it took a minute because I was like, no, Mr. Man. Yeah, lies. Don't come back. But I assume it's going to be a patient ride, which I love. I just want to see when she decides to, because now the ball's in her court. So I'm like, the ball's in your court? That's what I want to see when she takes the shot. That's what I want to see. So I don't know if it's necessarily a prediction, but it's like, that's what I'm hoping
But I
for
do
next
love that he's
episode.
giving her that space. Like, he's telling her, like, this is what's up. I have
And
feelings
that's
for
all.
you. I don't want to be your friend. However,
Well, that's a good man telling an extraordinary woman he wants to be more than a friend. Yeah, so it's
He's a
good.
good man, extraordinary woman.
Woman, like, yeah,
You
you
better
better
jump the position. Like, what?
I loved it. But we gotta give props.
them.
I gotta give props to, I forget which one of you was that said they would find those dead bodies. One of you said that one of the workers was gonna die? I don't know. Was it you?
I thought you said it.
No, I didn't
would
say it.
not- I
One
don't
of you,
think I said
one of
that.
you last episode. It must have been you then. 'Cause it wasn't me.
I don't think it was me either. Somebody did
I'm like,
say
did
it
I
though.
say it?
Yeah, one of y'all. Well, one of us called it correct. So props to the team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're
But I'm glad
polite.
it
Yeah.
wasn't because of the storm, because then it would have been
Would
all
not have
Charlie's
her
fault.
fault,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
I don't even think I wouldn't bounce back for her as a
Yeah.
character.
That'd have been tough.
I would have been Charles.
But I think my prediction. What's my prediction? You've made me root for Darla, but I just feel like she's gonna make some mistake. It just doesn't sound right. She's gonna be driving the car all of a sudden. she needs to ride back to the farm. So
Why she can't get a ride, you guys? Everybody had a problem with that.
I know.
I just feel like I'm being set up for failure with Darla, and I don't know why. It just feels like it leaps off the screen to me like this is just not. I feel the train crashing, but I hope it doesn't, because now I'm a huge Darla fan.
Yeah. Good job, baby.
But I wasn't rooting for her until now. Now I'm rooting for her. Yeah.
Because you're just the way, like, you're in love with her and she's sweet and
you're
you kind
taken.
of like humanized her so much. Not that we haven't seen it last week. I mean, killed it, but.
You made me remember she didn't have family. I keep forgetting that because I'm in the family and I'm like, no, you're not good enough for Ralph Angel.
Ralph Angel's a huge family.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
super invested.
He has so many people.
It's hard because I feel like they also, with his sisters and stuff, maybe don't take him super seriously. And think of him as kind of like, you know, but he still has Annette.
You don't have a lot of moments with the sisters, actually. That's so I just realized, like what do they think?
But she just reminded me about drug addiction, because I was thinking to myself, would I believe any drug addict that said they were like completely clean? And the answer was no. And I was like, well, that can't be true. Some of them, you know,
Are definitely clean now. Yeah.
So so that kind of got me to look at it from that perspective, that someone must make it out of drug addiction, and why can't it be Darla?
Yeah.
So.
Like
We'll see what remains to be seen. Well, we just want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
This
you.
has been amazing.
Fun.
Oh my God.
This is great.
Absolutely awesome. My name is Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong.
I'm Kelli Scates. You can find me at The Urban Gypsy LA.
You can find me. I'm Anjy. You can find me on Twitter at Anjy_Scates.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. You can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStays.
And Miss Lawson, where can they find you?
Oh, there?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys can find me at Bianca Lawson on Twitter and Bianca Jasmine Lawson on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll be back next week, same time, same place.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.